Hello lovely people, welcome to another video, and welcome to the Trek EMONDA SL5 1200 mile review. I was going to do 1,000 but I've overrun because of time. Alright, so excuse the wasp. Excuse the wasp. So just going to spend a few minutes just to go over a few things on the bike. I've not made any notes, but I've made some bullet points, so if I get the mobile out, it's just to keep me on track, to make the video as short as possible. Anyway, already rambling, let's get into this. Welcome to my review of the Trek EMONDA SL5 2022 model. So lovely people, welcome to my latest video and welcome to 1200 mile review of the Trek EMONDA SL5. This is a 2022 model, and if you can't see, in the blue obviously. Overall, I wanted just to start off by the overall look of the bike. Absolutely amazing. The colouring, so what you've got here is a nice sparkly blue, and you can actually see through the darker blue, you can actually see some of the carbon, so it just gives off a lovely feel of the bike. Massive on the Trek as well. So this is obviously the OCLV 500, so it's the SL5, so the OCLV 500, this is the entry level into their carbon on the EMONDA, Domane and the Madonna. Alright, and when I say it's the entry level, there is the SL5, SL6 and SL7. So this is the entry level within the SL range. Okay, as my last videos have said, it is still mid-range, but entry range within the carbon. So the product itself, so OCLV is a carbon setup, a patented carbon setup from Trek on how they actually manufacture the bikes. 25 years experience. We can understand that there's still a lot of problems within the bike industry when it comes to carbon quality, bottom bracket quality, blah blah blah. So the overall looks of the bike, when now I've managed to upgrade the wheels. To be honest, I bought the wheels to go with this bike. So you've got the Cosmics. These are the overall look of the bike is fantastic. Really good. Can't complain at the looks at all. The frame and geometry, so the geometry is a H1.5, so an upgrade from the ALR5, which was the aluminium version. This is put a picture here somewhere. Now, I've just, for people that don't know, I've actually ridden this bike for 3 years and upgraded from the ALR5 to this, but it was the rim brake version. So this is why I was very happy to transition from the H2 frame on the ALR5 to the 1.5 on the SL5. Just gets all a bit SL, ALR and all that. So you do have the H2, the H1.5, so there's a slight geometry change within the aluminium version to this, but to be honest, I don't notice it, and if anything else, I just think this is a much more racier, much quicker bike. And remember, I'm not a racy cyclist, but I do feel, whether it's the wheels, whether it's the overall aerodynamics with the frame, or whether it's the whole setup of the frame, it actually runs really well, and it is quicker in the short distances that I ride. Back end feels really solid, I have to say. There's no issues there whatsoever. I've got nothing to say about that at all. All it does, it just does what it says. I love the fact that you've got these nice chunky carbon seat stays, and the same goes for the chain stays. No issues there whatsoever. This is through axle as well, so it's the first bike. It's the first road bike I've owned that's through axle. So it feels really stiff at the back end. No problems there whatsoever. Down by the bottom bracket, that feels really good. But I'll talk to you a little bit more about the bottom bracket when we get to that thing. But very stiff down in that area. Front end, I have to say, the front end as well does work very, very well. Only problem I have is I do have a bit of brake rub. I'm always constantly having to adjust the front brake, so which is a pain. But I just think I may need to just take the brake caliper off and have a look and see if there's any paint on the frame itself, on the fork itself, to see whether there's any rubbing down, leveling up that needs doing there. So, but overall, I think the whole handling of the frame, I have really no complaints whatsoever. It doesn't feel soft anywhere. That just doesn't feel soft at all. It feels very, I hate to use the word compliant, but that's the industry standard, isn't it? So you are looking at a very compliant frame, very quick, for me, very comfortable. But then, as you know, you have the Domane and the Madone for different geometries and different setups and different riding styles. But obviously you have the hill climber, but again, the front end gives it a lot of aerodynamics, and obviously the whole setup of the wheels does that as well. So I upgraded the Cosmics straight away. I haven't really ridden the standard wheels. I took them out for about a 25-30 mile ride, I think. I upgraded the rotors. So the rotors are upgraded from the standard 105. They're upgraded to the Ultegra. I've really fantastic wheel setup completely. I have no qualms with that. I've always wanted a set of Cosmics, and I have to say, they buzz so well. Whether it's the whole of the frame and the wheel set working together, but once you put the power down, you can keep a consistent pace. It's just a completely different ride from the ALR5. And remember, I rode the ALR5 for 3 years. This is just a completely different ride. Whether the wheels are giving you that aerodynamics and pulling you along, I don't know what it is. But luckily enough, they're only the 45s. They are carbon. They're the Maverick Pro, the Maverick Cosmic Pro carbon 45s. So you don't really get too much hassles when you get some crosswinds. And as you know, over the last few months, we've had quite some massive winds. So yeah, they look absolutely awesome. There's a few comments about the Cosmic itself, but they're actually a fluoro, so at night, if you're riding out on the roads at night, they will light up with the light reflection. So again, just a bit of a safety measure there. My setup on the tyres, so as some of you know, you'll know I'll use the Pirelli. So here we have the Pirelli P0 roads, and I have the TPU inner tubes, and again, a really nice kind of a light race setup, but the tyres do have a little bit more protection, puncture protection, than any of their P0 race tyres. These are the P0 road, not the P0 race, so a little bit more protection. They work really well they just work really well with the whole setup. The crankset, so as standard with this, you've got the crankset, which is the 105 mechanical. So you've got the 50-34 compact with the 11-34 on the back. So I've got the longer cage. I obviously run a gold chain, as you can see. That's only for blingness. It's not really for doesn't give it any more. It doesn't make me faster. All right, it's not the chain that's doing that. You've also got the 105 levers and the 105 hydraulic brakes. Again, I have to say, the whole thing, the braking on this is the first road bike. Obviously my Topstone has got 105 braking on the disc, but for this it's just absolutely amazing. Stops on a sixpence. It's just really well controlled. Can't fault that at all. Really works well. Yeah, I've got no qualms with the way that the 105 works. As we know, it's just a solid 11-speed mechanical. Works absolutely fantastic. They've only just launched in the last week or so the 12-speed new 105 mechanical. I actually run the 4Is, so I've got the 4i precision 4i dual power meter on there as well, which I absolutely love. All right, just a couple of upgrades that I'd like to go through. Firstly, you will see that I've actually had the frame itself wrapped, so like a film put around the frame, which is from a company or a guy, Chris, who's at Cycle Wrap. You can check him out. I'll put a link down to his Instagram. Really good guy, and basically you're looking at that paint job should stay great for the whole of its lifespan. I've also upgraded the bottom bracket, so as some of you will know, I had problems with the Praxis T47 from the word go. So the bearings to me are just an absolute load of rubbish. So luckily enough for me, I've actually got a Hambini T47 in there, and since I think probably around about 250, 300 maybe, 350, I'm not sure, miles ago, upgraded that, and I've had no problems whatsoever. It is so quiet down there, I don't even know I'm riding sometimes. Fantastic upgrade. So a few things that I don't like. I've obviously mentioned the front brake rubbing, so that's a little bit of a hassle. I've also got the seat posts, so as you can see, this is a different sort of setup with the seat post. So the post actually sits over the carbon, so the great thing about this, which I think is good about that, is you do get a carbon seat post, in fact, with the way that you'll get a little bit of flex. The only problem is if you look carefully here, whether you won't see it or not, but just here, you'll see that there is, I'll stick a photo in, you'll see that there's a scratch. When you adjust that, sometimes it can mark the frame. And to be honest, I didn't even know it was there when I bought it, so it's there. It's not killing me. And I've got the Versys comp on the saddle, and I have to say it's okay. I'm not sure why, but I used to like I used to have on both the ALR5 and on my Topstone, I used to have the Specialized Taupe Gel Expert. Really great saddle, but they don't make that anymore, so that's the thing with Specialized. They like to make something good and then stop making it. So yeah, so but it's okay, it's just could be comfier. I do realise, I do notice the saddle after probably an hour and a half to 2 hours. I pretty much feel the saddle was making a mark in that sense. But anyway, the front end as well, as much as I like the integrated or the semi-integrated, so that you've got the semi-integrated, so the cables come through and then go down into the fork and then go wherever they're going. As some of you know, I like to do my own maintenance, so when it comes to doing the headset bearings, it's not going to be an easy job for me. So you're going to have to basically take out all the cables just to get to two bearings, which is going to be an absolute nightmare. But let's worry about that when it happens. It's going to be a big bill when it comes to sending it to the bike shop. I've also got a set of 42 giant defuse handlebars. Now they're quite good because they give a little bit of give, so they're not completely stiff. So again, being a bit of a big guy, I like to have a little bit of movement there. Would like to upgrade at some point to an aero bar, but at the moment I'm a little bit wary about going for a carbon front bar because of the Chinese toe seat that I had that broke. The problem with that is that all bars are made in China, whether they're made from Tozik or whoever, they are Chinese manufactured. So a little bit nervous on going carbon, so I'm just waiting maybe for the right set of alley bars to come along. Alright, so overall I run the Shimano pedals on there as well, so I don't run anything too sexy. I think they're the 550s or 540s, but overall, okay, overall I'm going to say this to you now. I rode the ALR5 for 3 years. I've been riding this since first ride was late April, so let's say from May, June, July, August and a little bit of September, so let's say around 4.5 months. Okay, I have to say this is the best bike I've owned, hands down. ALR5 was a lovely bike, but the SL5 knocks it out of the water. All right, it just feels like you're flying on it. I absolutely love it. I love the look of it. I love everything about it. The wheels make it look excellent. Would I change anything on it? Saddle, handlebars, but to be honest, that doesn't do anything on the performance. All right, so hopefully you got something out of that. Sorry, it's not a load of jargon where I talk to you about how compliant everything is and how light the bike is, because I think if I'll do away with the bike for you, just in case you haven't seen the bike, but I think it's near 10 kilos, but I'll do a weigh-in and we can have a look. But it's not the lightest bike, but I don't care about that. I'm a big guy. I've had no problems, touch wood, with the wheels, which by now I'd have had loads of problems even with aluminium wheels. So I think going big with the carbon and Mavics, I think I've done myself a favour there. And overall, I am absolutely chuffed with the bike. And if you bought the bike, I'm sure you would be too. This bike still, without those wheels, still at this moment are on sale at $2,049. I know on Pedal On, so you're bound to pick that up, and that's the 2022 model. All right, they do the Quicksilver and they do the blue. Obviously this year they've gone up in price. I don't know whether the group sets have changed, but you definitely will pay more for pretty much the same bike, in a sense, with a different colour. All right, hope you enjoyed the long ramblings. Any questions down below, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you on the road very soon.